Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Infertility. This is your host, Savannah Keys. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about mindset and all of the feelings that come along with infertility. Now, if any of you have listened to my podcast prior, you know that me and my husband have been trying for over 3 years, and about a year and a half into our infertility journey, I found out that both of my tubes were blocked and that IVF was the only route for us to conceive and start a family. So, my mindset, as you can imagine, throughout this entire journey has been all over the place. And the feelings that come with that have been extremely all over the place as well. I have felt and experienced everything from a negative mindset to a jealous mindset to mad to sad to poor me to happy to hopeful to excited to brave. I am telling you, if there is a feeling on a chart somewhere, I have felt it all in just this short timeline and journey that I have been on. So, I really just want to take some time today and kind of level set with everyone who might be in the same boat and talk about those feelings and talk about those mindsets and what I have done to better them and what I have done to overcome them. And sometimes I haven't bettered them and sometimes I haven't overcame them. But hearing it from someone else sometimes makes you feel less alone in that mindset or in those feelings. So I'm just going to dive in and be open and real and honest and share those things with you all. And hopefully it helps one person out there. So, when me and Drake were trying to get pregnant, when we first decided that we wanted to start a family, of course, I was super excited. You see in the movies, you read in the books, you talk to friends, you hear all these stories, and it's like this fun time. You're an adult, you're married or in a serious relationship, and you're like, okay, let's start a family. And with that, you have all of these hopes and dreams and expectations that have been deeply rooted for me, the time I was a little girl. I always said, like, I want to grow up. I want to go to college. I want to date. I want to get married. I want to travel. I want to experience time with my husband. And then when I'm ready to settle down and have a family, like I want it to happen. And I want 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. Here's their names. Here's the sports they're going to play. Like, these are just things that you grow up thinking for so long. And so when it doesn't happen, you're crushed. And when you think about why you're crushed, it's like, well, those are the expectations I set for myself. But where did they come from? I am not a psychologist. I couldn't even probably begin to get down to those deep rooted expectations and thoughts and feelings, but they're normal. I'll talk about it later in the episode, but there is a mindset and there are feelings all around timeline. I thought for sure, I am going to be married by this time and pregnant by this day and blah, 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 blah. Like, that hasn't happened. And that is something that you have to overcome. And that's something that messes with your, mindset. So when we decided we're going to start trying for a family, we, we're both planners. We're both type A. And we kind of said this whole hey, we want to be married for 3 years and then we want to get pregnant. Well, about a year into marriage, we are like, instead of setting this hard timeline and a hard line in the sand of 3 years, let's just start trying now. And if it happens, it happens. Great. Well, there's the first couple months of if it happens, great. And probably about 6 months in, I'm like, okay, it's not happening. And why isn't it happening? Is it me? Are we doing this on the wrong days? Why isn't it working? What do we need to do? And that messes with your mindset. It starts to go from let's be honest, fun sex with your husband to all right, I'm tracking my ovulation and we need to do it on these days. Oh, you're gone for work on these days? Well, now I'm in a bad mood because it's throwing off my plan. Or, oh, you're tired. You've had a long day. We've been trying this for the last 4 nights. No, you can't go to bed. This is something we're doing. There is a point, and for those of you that have tried for months on end or whatever your timeline looks like, that there is a point in time where it does become like a race against time. You know, you have these few days in a given month that you can only get pregnant, and it happens, every month. So when that time comes, you were like rigid and we need to do this. Here's when I'm ovulating. I've taken these million strip tests. I have the blinking smiley face. Like, we have to do it on this day at this time. And your mindset, unfortunately for me, it did get wrapped up in that. And, 6 months turned into 8 months, turned into 10 months, turned into a year, turned into 12 months, or I'm sorry, 14 months, and so on and so forth. And the more time that goes on, the more that your expectations and those dreams that you've had of like, all right, I get married, I settle down, I get pregnant, and it happens by this time. And you're like, why isn't this happening? And every month, before we were trying to start a family, I would hear people all the time say, like, oh, I got a negative pregnancy test and I was so upset. And it never, like, I didn't understand that. It did not connect with me on, like, why are they upset? Like, just try again next month. When you're in that, in every month you're getting the negative. But at the beginning of every month, you're like, okay, this is it. This is our time. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to take a pregnancy test. It's going to be positive. Like, this is our month. And if it happens this month, then that means we would be able to announce it this time, and our gender reveal would be this time, and due date would be this, and blah, blah, blah. And every month you're crushed. And every month, even though you've experienced that heartbreak, it's like your brain plays this trick on you of like, okay, but this is our month. And it's this roller coaster of like getting your hopes up and crashing and burning, and getting your hopes up and crashing and burning. And that that went on for me for, like I said, a year and a half. And it wasn't until we found out that we had to actually go through IVF that those hopes were taken away from me. And not the hopes of getting pregnant. I still have hopes and truly believe that I will get pregnant one day. I just have to go a different route than what feels like everyone else in my life. It's the what's taken away from me is that excitement every month of like, is this my month? I know I'm never going to go to the bathroom and take a pregnancy test and be surprised. That element is taken away from me. I will always have to go to a fertility clinic and do, tests and appointments and, go in on X day to have this blood taken to find out if your labs look okay and does the ultrasound look okay? Okay, we'll schedule your transfer on this date. Like, there's no element of surprise for me. And that is something that your mindset and your feelings do get wrapped up in. That was really hard for me to accept because it's been ingrained in my mind that you have sex, you wait a couple weeks, you take a test, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. It'll never be that for me. It is, you're going to go to a clinic and you're going to have a doctor insert a catheter into your cervix and your uterus and plant an embryo there, and you see it on the screen. And you go home, and for 2 weeks, you're like, did it take? Did it not take? Did it take? Did it not take? If it didn't take, did I do all the things to ensure that it took? If it did, like, it's just not the same anymore. I mean, it is something that is so scary, and you feel so alone, and it's hard to like really understand what are your own thoughts and mindset on that. For me, our very first transfer, I was so excited. I was so hopeful. I've shared this in previous podcasts, but like, I was convinced it was going to take. For me, both tubes of mine are blocked. And outside of that, on paper, me and my husband look pretty damn healthy. And, we had a doctor who told us, like, you have very high chances of this working. And so after my first IVF transfer in that 2-week wait window, I was like, I'm pregnant. One, all of the medicine I was on gives you the exact same side effects as pregnancy. So I was nauseous. I was tired. I just felt horrible. I was craving certain foods. My smell was enhanced. I was on Amazon picking out all of the gifts and the ways that we were going to tell our friends and family. And I have all of these plans, and I'm like looking at the calendar and deciding when we're going to have this gender reveal, and like it didn't work. And I'm not saying that if I could go back, I would have a different mindset. I would still be hopeful. I would still be, excited, and I would still have those same exact feelings today. But when that first transfer didn't work, I think that was the eye-opening moment for me in my infertility journey of like, this is going to be hard, and this is going to be messy, and this is not going to be a fairy tale journey, but you can get through this. And it's going to be damn hard at times, and there are times that it's going to be easy. But that is really where, for me, mindset became such a empowering factor. And what I mean by that is I've been through this enough times to know when my mindset is good, when my mindset is okay, when my mindset is negative and bad and in a bad place. My second IVF transfer, which also ended in a failure, I didn't go into that process positive at all. I had to wake up every day and be like, Savannah, you're lucky to do this. You should be excited. You should have faith. You should be hopeful. And I just wasn't. I think I had experienced such deep heartbreak with the first failure that I just was like, this is happening again. And I don't know if it was just kind of a gut feeling or what, but I went into that transfer and just something about it. I was like, that just didn't take. This is not going to be positive. This is not going to end the way we want it to. And again, I wouldn't go back and change my feelings. I wouldn't be as negative and pessimistic, but I think I was just guarding my heart and guarding my feelings and trying to have a mindset that aligned with, if this works, I will be over the moon. But if it doesn't, I'm cushioning myself. Now, I'm not here to say any mindset is better than one another. I think your mindset is your mindset, and we can do things to benefit them. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I've been in places where I know my mindset is bad and I haven't done anything to fix it. Our second IVF transfer, I didn't care if I had a bad mindset. And maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right, I don't know. But that's the truth, and it's okay to feel that way. This is a journey. And, when we talk about journeys, it's not like a straight line start to finish. It's like this squiggly line that goes like top left corner, bottom left corner, circle, loop de doo, around, around, around. And it's not a straight line. And infertility is a long journey. And you're going to have a lot of stops along the way. You're going to have a lot of changes. And the timeline is not going to be what you think it is. And your mindset is going to be different at every different turn. What I will say is infertility is not just your treatments. It's not, okay, what is my mindset when I go to my doctor's appointment on Tuesday? What is my mindset when I get my labs the following day? What is my mindset as we gear up for the next transfer? What is my mindset going into transfer? What is my mindset after transfer? It's, what is your mindset on the random Tuesday when you see a pregnancy announcement on social media that just guts you? I've been there. I've had friends tell me they're pregnant when I least expect it, and you're jealous, you're mad, you're sad. Of course, you're happy for them. And someone that is not going through infertility or have never experienced it is not going to understand what I just said. How are you jealous and mad and sad, but happy for that person? I'm so happy for them, but I'm so sad for me and jealous of like, when is it going to be my time? Like, when am I going to experience that? Like, why me? Why me of all people do I have to go through this? You're mad at the cards you've been dealt, And it sucks. I mean, there's no better way to put it. I mean, it sucks. It's unfair. There's nothing that we did to deserve infertility. There's nothing that I did to deserve IVF. It's just the cards that were dealt, and we have to figure out how in the hell we're going to, get through this journey and make it out, one more day okay. So, it's not just the mindset and the feelings of like the things that that are coming. It's the pregnancy announcements. It's when you're out somewhere and you meet someone and they say, "Oh, do you have kids? When are you guys going to start trying?" And you have to decide, like, do I want to sit here and educate this person on why I've been married going on 5 years and don't have kids? Do I want to explain our journey of, oh, well, we've been trying and we're going through infertility and going through IVF, because then you're like, okay, am I going to get someone that understands, or am I going to get someone that doesn't know and isn't educated and is like, "Oh my gosh, that's so exciting." Let me just tell you guys right now, and if you are listening, supporting someone going through infertility, and they say, "Oh, I'm going through IUI, or I'm going through a medicated cycle, or I'm going through timed intercourse, or I'm going through IVF, or we're going through the foster care system or adoption," or whatever it is, don't lead with "that's so exciting." While that step that they may be in might be exciting, it could also be the worst part of it for them. I'm not saying I know the right words to say, but I have had so many people, countless, 20, 30, 40, I don't even know at this point. "Oh my gosh, you're going through IVF. How exciting." No, Barbara, it's not exciting that to date I've spent 45 grand. To date, we're going on 3 years of trying to have a baby and haven't. To date, I have been through 3 rounds of IVF and 2 failed transfers. It's not exciting. It's not fun. I don't want to do this. I think when you tell people that and you share the valleys and the peaks of this journey, I think people equate that to being brave. And yeah, I'm brave. I'm super brave to go through this and put a smile on my face, to go through this and, turn around and educate people, and to go through this time and time again after heartbreak. Yeah, that is bravery. But I don't want to be brave. It makes me laugh. I had a friend send me this meme, and I can't even remember what the meme was, but it said, me telling God I don't want to be on the list for his bravest warriors this year. And I just laughed because I can't even count how many times someone said, "Oh my gosh, you're so brave." And every time I'm thankful for that. I'm like, thank you for acknowledging that I'm being brave. But at the same time, like, I'm tired of being brave. I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want people looking at me and thinking, "Wow, you're so brave." I want someone to look at me and be like, "Wow, that was so easy. She tried once and she got pregnant." That's what I want. Like, how amazing would that be? But that's not my journey, and that's not the cards I've been dealt. So, I have to deal with this. And this journey comes with some shitty feelings and mindsets that are all over the place. So, I'm here, in long and short, I'm here to say I felt them all. I will say most of them are on what we would probably consider the negative side, the side people don't want to talk about or hear about or ask about. I have a lot of sad days. I have a lot of mad days. I have a lot of jealous days. I will say, as time goes on, I have more what I call numb days, where it's like I'm not necessarily happy or optimistic, but I'm not mad at the world and upset and jealous and poor me. I'm just kind of numb. And I guess if we looked like to the deep root cause of like, well, why do you feel that way? I don't know. Some days maybe it's that I'm suppressing my emotions. Some days maybe it's just I'm too busy to think about it. Some days I'm truly just going through the motions. I don't know what they are. Every day is different. But lately, these last couple months, I've had a lot of numb days and numb times. And I think it's like my subconscious like protecting me. That sounds so weird, but I do think it is. And numb days are okay. And numb days have been great for me. People will often ask like how's your IVF journey going? How's infertility going? And it's allowed me to just kind of be like, "Oh, it's going, nothing new. We're still kind of on the same waiting track, I'm good. I'm not great. I'm not bad. I'm good. I'm okay." But I have to be okay admitting that to myself. And I think what helps people in the infertility world or in their own infertility journey is being okay with your own emotions. I am okay telling my husband, like, I'm having a horrible day. I'm upset about this. Or, you know what? I haven't really thought about it in a couple days. Yes, I've thought about it, but I haven't sat down and let it consume my thoughts or alter my mindset. That's kind of a numb day for me. Or, yes, I'm so excited. I've been thinking about this and researching this, and I'm super excited to meet with my new doctor or whatever it is. But you have to do like a self check. It's kind of like a temperature check. Like, how am I feeling today? In some days, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not a how am I feeling today. It's like, how am I feeling this hour? I've been there. I have been there. But on a more positive note, throughout these 3 years, throughout my, a little over 12 months of going through IVF and infertility treatments, I have had positive mindsets and I have had great days. I'm not going to sit here and act like everything is doom and gloom. It's not. I think back to, when we first found out we had to go through IVF. I was upset. I was scared. I was alone. I was sad. I was mad. I was feeling all of the things. But a piece of me inside was excited to have a diagnosis instead of wondering, like, what is going on? Why isn't this working? Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Am I not doing something right? There is a glimmer of hope of like, okay, we do know what's wrong. We now have a diagnosis. We can go fix that. And that gives you hope and that gives you strength. And it gives you like a let's go solve this mindset. When we first went through our first round of IVF, I was so hopeful. I was just so excited. And I look back at that and I needed to feel that. I needed to feel that. And I'm glad I felt that. You know, I'm not even going to lie to you. And this is the thing that I tell people all the time is like your feelings and your mindset through infertility are so contradicting. And what I mean by that is there have been times throughout this 3 years, throughout this 1 year that I've been going through IVF that I have said like, you know, I want a baby so bad. I would do anything to get pregnant and start a family. But we do have this trip coming up, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to sitting on the beach and drinking some margaritas. Or, we stayed out late last night. It's kind of nice to sleep in and do what we want. Or, hey, look at us. We're going to dinner on a Wednesday night. Not many people that we hang out with that have friends can just get up and go and do these things. This past weekend, my husband flew out to California to meet me because I had been in California for a work trip. And he flew out and we spent the weekend there and we had a great time. There are glimmers and moments throughout this journey that I'm not saying I'm grateful to not have a kid. I'm not saying I'm grateful to be on this journey, but I am human And it's like, you know what? If I'm already going through this journey and I'm already having to experience this, I'm at least going to enjoy the time. I'm going to enjoy the vacations. I'm going to enjoy going to concerts. I'm going to enjoy being able to get up and do whatever I want. I'm enjoying going to the gym at 6:15 in the morning without having to worry about someone else. I'm doing a podcast right now at 8:26 p.m. at night. There are little things that I do appreciate during this journey on the way to having a family that I am like, you know what? I can do this right now because of my situation. Like I said, I would do anything for a kid. So if I had a trip planned and someone's like, oh, you're pregnant, I would be so excited to go on that trip pregnant. If I had a concert in the future and I get pregnant between now and then, I'm going to be so excited. It's contradicting, but I am looking for the positives along the way. I'm not putting my life on hold for infertility. I'm not putting my life on hold for my IVF treatments. I'm just learning to keep a positive mindset when I can and continue to live life. The last thing I'll tell you, and this is something that I actually was driving home the other day from one of my IVF appointments. And in my mind, I had thought, you know what? I just have such a good mindset right now. You know, we're preparing to go into our fourth round and our third actual transfer. And I'm scared. I'm nervous. I have the what ifs in the back of my mind. But this round, I do have a very good mindset. I'm confident. I'm hopeful. You know, we're trying a new clinic. We're trying a new doctor. I'm just in a really good mindset right now. But, you know, I'm driving home and I'm thinking, this is it. Like, I feel really good. I feel like this is the doctor to get me pregnant. And that's such a great thing to think. When you're going through infertility and you're going through IVF and if you're going through any infertility treatment, that's hope. That's faith. Those are the things we need. But it hit me because, oh, and I hope I don't cry. It hit me because that is not something that everyone says. Gosh, I hope this doctor is able to get me pregnant. And it put things into reality that back to the beginning of the episode, you know, I said, you see in movies, you read on books, you know, you hear all these stories that when you decide to have a family, like, let's just be honest, you get to have sex with your significant other in a traditional marriage, relationship, whatever, and you get pregnant. But there are people out there that don't get that. You have people like me who are going through IVF. You have people who are going through IUIs. You have same sex couples. You have people going through surrogates, and that's taken from them. And, you know, for those of you who aren't familiar with the IVF process, you go through weeks of medications and shots, and you go in for your transfer, and you lay on a, like, you know, when you go to the OB, you lay on a table, you put your feet in stirrups, they insert a catheter into your uterus, and then they implant an embryo. There's multiple people in the room. You know, all of this is shown on a big screen TV or some type of device to where you can see it. And your husband or your significant other is sitting next to you. And in that moment, it put it into perspective of like, my husband's not getting me pregnant. Yes, it's, you know, my egg, his sperm, our embryo, but it's someone else. And as, you know, in that moment, I was like, I could be upset about this. That's something that's taken away from me. But also, 50 years ago, I wouldn't have a way to do that. It would be, oh, well, you know, ma'am, you can't get pregnant. And so this is kind of where your journey ends. And so it was a refreshing way to look at it. Yes, it's sad. I will never get to say, oh, yeah, we had this one night and I can remember, you know, people are always like, oh, yeah, I think this is when he or she was conceived. And they always have this like incredibly cute story. I won't ever have that. But I do have a way and I have options because of how far science has come. And that's something that I think is incredibly badass. And I'm holding on to that throughout the rest of this journey is I have a way. I have an option. The first transfer may have failed. The second transfer may have failed. My third round may have gotten canceled. But I have hope and I have faith and I'm confident and I have change and I have a new clinic and a new doctor and a new protocol. And in that moment, I was like, I have a feeling. And it may not be this first round with them. It may be multiple down the road, but I have a feeling that I can get pregnant. And that is the hope and faith that I want to hold on to. And I hope I hold on to that hope and faith for, many more rounds to come if it doesn't work, or many more rounds to come if it does work and we decide to expand our family after that. I'm not telling you that in 2 weeks, I'm still going to feel the same. But what's important is that I'm feeling those feelings and holding on to them right now. So, all of that to say, feelings are all over the place. Feelings are so contradicting in an infertility journey, in an IUI journey, in an IVF journey, in a whatever journey you're in. They're contradicting, and that's okay. Mindsets are going to shift and change and play tricks on you. And they may change hour to hour. They may change day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. It's normal. What's important is that we learn to embrace the ups and the downs. And when we're in a valley, we look for that peak. And when we're in a peak, we hold on to it and understand that it's a journey and it's not a straight line. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. It felt more like a venting session, which is great. I started this podcast to not only cope with my own infertility journey, but because I talked to so many women and men out there going through the same thing and wondering if it was okay to feel these feelings, or wondering if this mindset is normal, or wondering, does my journey look like someone else's? Is there something I'm missing? Leaning on people, education, all of that. So while I started this journey to cope and vent, I also did this just equally as much to help someone else. So hopefully by me sharing, these thoughts, which honestly felt like a little rambling. So if it's all over the place, I am sorry. I hope this helps someone else. It's okay to feel jealous. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to scream, why me? While you're, bawling, eating a tub of ice cream. I've been there. I can tell you it's fine. But it's also okay to, if you're in a break or you're in a waiting time frame, to say like, "Oh, I'm enjoying life." It's okay to feel that. Embrace those times. God willing, all of us have kids in the next, months, years, however long, and we're going to think back and be like, "You remember those nights that we had nothing to do and we could just get up and go or binge our favorite Netflix series?" I hope we all look back on that. But in the meantime, we have to make sure that we're in the best headspace for us at that time. So, I appreciate you all spending the time with me, listening to today's episode. It means the world to me. Please share this with someone that you also know going through infertility, or, in the midst of trying to start their family, or in the midst of an infertility treatment. As always, if you are someone supporting a loved one going through infertility, you don't know how much this means to them that you're taking time out of your day to educate them. Oh gosh, this is the one thing that gets tears out of me. My friends are some of the most educated people on infertility, and that means so much to me. that they take the time to at least try and walk a mile in my shoes. And for that, it means the world. So just know that you are making a difference. But thank you all so much. Please like, subscribe, share. If you ever want to get in touch with me, feel free to email me at everydayinfertility@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram at everydayinfertility. Please reach out. Give me thoughts, opinions, feedback, ask questions. Do you want to hear someone on the podcast? Send them my way. I'd love for that. Other than that, I will see you all next week. Thank you so much.